Hello, and welcome to the third sector. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit. It's that third sector that we're here to talk about today. Thank you for joining me. I'm Tamara Brinkman, your host for today. Joining me on today's show are Broeker and Carrie Mier of Drug-Free Wayne County Partnership. Also on today's show, coming up a little bit later, will be Sinclair from NATCO Community Empowerment. But first, we're going to start off with Drug-Free Wayne County Partnership and Broeker and Carrie Mier. Thank you for joining me today. How are you, ladies?
Thanks for having us. I'm doing great.
Oh,
cool. Good, doing good.
Thank you very much for having us on. You know, it's a pleasure to talk with y'all about what we do for the community.
Oh, well, we're really happy that you're able to give me some time and share what it is that you do for the community with us today. And to that end, why don't you guys give me a little bit of a brief history about how Drug-Free Wayne County got started, and how you've gone from sort of the beginning to where you are today.
All right. So Drug-Free Wayne County Partnership has been in existence since 1987. Through the years, there's been ebbs and flows with almost any organization. But the past 7 years or so, there has been great strides that have been made from board members, past and current board members. In 2015, our board was restructured in order to make it a more sustainable coalition for Wayne County. And we have grown from maybe having 20 active members to now having over 120 active members in our coalition today. In 2018, we were awarded the Drug-Free Communities Grant, which is a federal grant for 5 years. It's a $625,000 grant. And also the Drug-Free Wayne County Partnership is in charge of the local coordinating council for Wayne County, which we call the LCC, where we are in charge of directing the drug-free communities fees that are collected from counter-measurement fees from our county.
Yeah, essentially our role is the state of Indiana. Every single county has what they call local coordinating council that deals with drug issues in the community. So the Criminal Justice Institute for the state of Indiana will collect interdiction fees for drug crimes in our area. So they could be like fines, fees, bail, that sort of stuff. And then they basically will funnel that money back to the community. And then our job as an LCC is to make sure that law enforcement, treatment prevention, and education are kind of being funded with those monies. So then we're trying to help address this issue within our community instead of just leaving it to be a completely criminal justice solved problem.
Wow, that's a lot of great information. You guys are doing some amazing work. Can you tell me just a little bit more about the mission of your organization and your vision? Also, kind of what are your goals for, say, the next year or so?
Okay. Our vision is working together today to build a safer and drug-free community for tomorrow. And our mission goes along with what the LCC does in the three categories that we have that Carrie had just mentioned. It's to support and encourage the prevention, education, treatment, and law enforcement in the fight against substance misuse and substance misuse related issues. So it's a big mission statement, but it goes right along with what our goals are. And our goals for this next year is to actually finalize our 501c3 status. We had to reapply. There was a little mix up and all of that. So we are working on that. Another thing that we're trying to do is to break down the silos that Wayne County has. Like Wayne County was very siloed. Like we have great resources here in Wayne County, and we're just trying to bring them all together in order to create one big community collaboration versus having 10 different treatment facilities or prevention activities doing their own thing, but coming together to make it a bigger and better community for us. We're also we're working on breaking the stigma that's related to substance use and mental health in our community. We have created a stigma work group that focuses on just educating the community about substance misuse and mental health and how to communicate properly with individuals who are experiencing mental health issues or substance misuse issues.
Yeah, what we're really trying to do is we're really trying to grow our organization and become the voice of this issue in our community. And we're trying to do this by working with other communities such as Fayette County. We're partnering with universities. I'm an assistant professor of criminal justice at but we're working with Purdue University right now to do the TROSC, which is basically kind of like a risk assessment, networking of all the parts of our communities that can address substance issues. And that meeting is actually next Friday. So if anybody wants to come to the TROSC, feel free to join on in with us. We're trying to get everybody involved, no matter what your background or expertise, because this issue is something that is far reaching. And it is something that no matter who you are, you probably know somebody who is impacted in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and to add to that, another thing that we are trying to focus on as well that I forgot to mention was building the youth coalition for Wayne County. A big thing for the Drug Free Communities Grant is to have the youth coalition, and the youth will be in charge of driving the prevention efforts for the youth in Wayne County. So that we have a good start. So we are hoping to continue with this momentum even with COVID. So we have a good start in Richmond, and we are hoping to branch out to all the county schools as well this year. So
that's great. It's so wonderful to see you guys doing this work. We know that Wayne County has a real issue with drug use, both in the adult demographic as well as in our youth demographic. And additionally, the work that you guys are focusing on around mental health and to ensure that we normalize that just absolutely as much as possible, right? So there isn't that stigma, so people don't feel afraid, so they get the help that they need. And they don't suffer in silence. And so really important and work that your nonprofit's doing in our community. And definitely, I would say, you could talk about some of the impact that maybe you're having on the community with those efforts. How are your numbers as far as people that you're impacting, or are you seeing, are you getting more reaching out from people in the community looking for assistance or guidance from your organization?
Well, this past year has been especially challenging due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We kind of had to be very adaptable, and all our meetings shifted to a virtual format. Our events that we were also planning on doing also shifted to a virtual format. So last year we did National Prevention Week, where we tried to highlight specific issues and problems in our community. And we had to do that all online. And then last year we also did Recovery Month 2020, which was 100% online. We did something unique every single day, where we would have like affirmations and testimonials and all sorts of stuff for our community. And we also gave out naloxone trainings last year for the community that we were partnering with Indiana University for. So we have been having to adapt quite a bit, but I think we've rose to the challenge, especially with the Youth Coalition this last year. We've done some amazing things with them, and hopefully we will just keep getting bigger and better as we do more and more.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead, Megan.
One thing we did do in person was we partnered with Richmond Police Department and did have our drug take back day in October.
Oh,
so
great.
was a good thing. And then we will be doing that again in April and then again in October of this year as well. So
that's great news. Those drug take-back programs are really key because I don't know if people realize those aren't just for the bad illicit drugs, right? Those are for the prescription drugs that are old or expired or you don't use anymore. And it's not recommended to flush those down your toilet or down your garbage disposal because it's bad for the environment. And so something to think about, to watch for, that if you've got old prescriptions, keep an eye out for those opportunities to dispose of them. As we start
we were there and we actually helped assist in bringing, I believe, 350 pounds of mainly expired prescriptions. And we saw numerous people that, like an elderly parent had passed away and they just had all this stuff and they had no idea what to do with it. So this is definitely a good thing that our community has these sorts of things.
Yes, indeed. It is very important, and we are lucky to have you as an organization in our community. As we start to wrap up our time together today, could you tell me just a little bit about your guys' funding? Does that come from state or federal funding? Is it grant money? Is it a combination of? Let us know.
Yeah, so our funding comes from the countermeasurement fees as well as local grants that we apply for. And the big funding that we have right now is for the DFC grant. And so that is a federal grant. So we have avenues of money coming all different ways, but mainly a lot of the local is our main funding source.
Right.
Yeah, that's the main reason we're very, very excited about getting our 501c3 finalized and cleared up, is so that we can hopefully continue to apply for grant monies and start getting into things like fundraising and things like that, so that we can be a much more sustainable organization in the future.
That sounds great. Well, lots to look out for coming in the future for Drug Free Wayne County Partnership. I'd like to thank both of you ladies for joining me today and being my guests on the third sector. Thank you very much to Megan Broeker, Executive Director of Drug Free Wayne County Partnership, and also to Dr. Carrie Mier, who is their current board president. And so with that, we will, we've got, let's see who we have. We have Dana Sinclair coming up next from NATCO Community Empowerment Center. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me now is Dana Sinclair from NATCO Community Empowerment Center. Welcome, Dana. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I enjoy this.
Oh, well, great. We're so thrilled that you're able to take some time today to share with myself and with our audience about the work that NATCO Community Empowerment Center does for our community. And so with that, how did NATCO get started? And from when it got started, how does it look today?
Well, I would say probably about 10 plus years ago, the credit union, NATCO Credit Union, noticed a trend or a change in trend of what people were coming in and applying for loans for. Mm-hmm. And it no longer was for things like cars, homes, vacations, things like that. It started becoming loans for basic needs, food, shelter, paying you back due utilities, back rent, things like that. And so they started doing some research in the community and found that this wasn't something just was specific to NATCO. And they also did some research and wrote for a grant because they wanted to be proactive. They wanted to help people before they got to the point that they needed a loan to pay back due utilities, things like that. So they wanted to be proactive. They got this grant, and the Empowerment Center was born from that. And the whole idea is for us to be a community center that people can come to as a one-stop shop. And that doesn't mean we do everything, because we don't. But what that means is we want the ability to know where the places are that people can go to connect them to the different needs that they may have. I can connect them to the food pantries. I can connect them to the trustee's office. I can connect them to Drug-Free Wayne County that was just a part of your program. So it's really about being that connector. And also a big piece of what we do is financial education. So that's kind of where we started. And I don't know that there has been, in the overall of what we do, because we started in the fall of 2013.
Okay.
So in the overall of what we do, I don't know that our true goal has changed in a great way. We have added a lot of things to our arsenal, so to speak, but it's still based on that idea of being a connector of people to needs and doing our basic. We have what we call the 4 steps to empowerment. Okay. Step 1 is connecting people to needed resources. Step 2 is job seeking assistance. We can help people with resume writing. We have a collection of clothes that's interview appropriate, that is actually housed at the Sylvan Nook Church. We are certified financial counselors, so we can help people with budgeting, debt consolidation, debt management, credit building, credit repair. We are right in the middle of, well, I don't know if it's the middle, it's kind of the beginning of tax season. We're a certified VITA-site, voluntary income tax assistance. And so we are doing tax preparation. Last Friday, we did almost 50 in a day.
Wow.
We filed almost 50 in a day. We didn't do all those in a day. That's and then we work through trainings, workshops. We provide poverty simulations, things like that for step 4, which is classes, trainings, and workshops. So all of the things that we did, we have done, but it's expanded. And some things have gone away, but for the most part, it still fits those 4 steps.
Got it. And I would imagine the expansion is around the needs of the community and your need as an organization to maybe adjust or flex with what those needs are, because they can be somewhat ever-changing, although I would imagine we have some core needs that have stayed primary, I think, in this community for some time. You mentioned basic needs being a key one. I was wondering, as this was born out of the credit union, noticing that there was that uptick in, or change rather, in the type of loans that they were seeing. Have they seen that adjust any differently, either up or down, or sort of flatten, since you guys have been able to come into the community and do the work that you're doing?
I don't know that I think that there has... I don't know that I know or have that information, but what I do know is that the credit union is now able, when somebody comes in for something like that, to connect them to us.
Got it.
So we are able to, because if somebody is behind on their rent or utilities to the point that they need a loan, the likelihood of them getting a loan is very slim to none. So before the Empowerment Center, there wasn't a lot that the credit union could do. Now the credit union has the ability to connect them to us, and then we can help them. And the idea is to help them like that step 1. Okay, they need help paying their utilities. They lost their job due to COVID, whatever that is. They need help paying their utilities, so we can connect them that way. And then we can talk about what are the resources out there because of COVID that may be able to help you. Okay, now we've got that, your immediate need is taken care of. So let's look at the next thing. Is the next thing you need a different job? You lost your job due to COVID, whatever that is. Okay, so let's work on that. So it's the idea of them and us working together on that journey to lead them to financial independence and security.
Well, heaven knows that finances can be a tricky subject for many of us, and assistance is a wonderful thing. No one should ever be too proud to reach out for that, because the more you know in that financial sector, the more empowering, to your name of your organization you are as a person, as a mother, as a father, just a member of society. I think it makes it a lot easier for things that you can do.
And I'll tell you, we get people from all socioeconomic backgrounds as far as our financial education or help. People get in over their heads over the idea of credit card debt. Yeah. And because it's easy. Using a credit card is easy. Mm-hmm. Paying them off is hard. Yeah. So, you can have a ton of money and be in debt and be struggling. I've been there. Mm-hmm. So it is, and sometimes in the financial world, in your own personal financial world, you can't see the forest for the trees. Yes. You can't see that there's options. All you see is the bad. Right. And so if you have somebody from the outside with a fresh eye look mm-hmm. and be able to say, okay, these are some ways that you can cut some corners and pay more on this credit card or this, those types of things. Right. Those are such helpful tips. I mean, and like you said, it's across all socioeconomic. Like people can have a lot of money and really not have a lot of money. You just never know. I wanted to touch a little bit about your organization. Sort of what is your the makeup of your organization in terms of staff or board? What does that look like for you guys? We have 2 full-time staff here at the Empowerment Center. Tara Gray and I are the full-time staff here. And Tara's been here since day one of the Empowerment Center being opened, and I followed about 3 short months later. And we do basically all of the same things. We can each help people. We're both certified financial counselors. We got recertified last year. Woo woo. And we are both certified financial counselors. We both have the ability to do our trainings. We both can help people with resume writing. We both are certified to do taxes, so on and so forth. So that is where we are. Where we differ is we bring different strengths to the table as far as knowledge. I've always worked in nonprofits. Tara's not always, but Tara has a lot of background in the financial industry and financial institutions. And so bringing those 2 things together has, I think, made us better. We do have a very small board because we are a new nonprofit. Now, the Empowerment Center itself is not a nonprofit, but we have a nonprofit fiscal agent, mm-hmm. which is called Love Makes Sense. But you won't hear about Love Makes Sense. You hear about the Empowerment Center. Right. So there's that. Our board, we have 4 people on our board at this point. It is a small board. We are slowly building up to everything that a board should be doing. Last year, I completed my certification in nonprofit executive leadership, and so things are starting to change and move and those kinds of things. But it's a slow process with 2 people that are full-time and that kind of thing. We are very connected to the credit union. Mm-hmm. So we are really managed by the credit union's board. Except for the financial piece. Well, we're fortunate that that the NATCO credit union saw the need and were paying attention to that change in the need and created this Empowerment Center for our community. As we get wrapping up here on time, I do want to touch very quickly, how do you guys get funding to do the work you do? There's a variety of ways that we get funding. Most of our programs are funded through grants. United Way of Whitewater Valley has been a huge funder. When we first started, we did a program called Circles Whitewater Valley, which was almost 100% funded through United Way. Circles fell off because of lack of interest. We have been funded by Reed Community Benefit. We have been funded by the Wayne County Foundation. We had a very successful challenge match period this last year. And so in that case, I feel like we were funded by the community, mm-hmm. Because we got 14 new donors.
That's
The
fantastic.
year of COVID, 14 new donors, and that was huge to me. So I was totally excited about that.
Congratulations
we are
on that
funded
for
by
sure.
grants and NATCO.
Right, and NATCO too. Well, congratulations on that. The new donors. It's always challenging to get new donors. So wonderful news on that front, and it's great that our community is so supportive of this organization. It is important work. Dana, quickly remind us if people are looking to connect with you. Is it a website? Is it a phone number to find you all?
Your best bet is to call us, and the telephone number is 765-983-4766. And that's going to be your best bet. I will be completely honest. Beginning of the year, our phone rings off the hook due to tax season. Promise if you leave a message, we will call you back. You can also contact us on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So if you just go to Facebook, I'm not going to give you the long thing, but if you go to Facebook and look up the NATCO Community Empowerment Center, send us a message on there. You're typically going to get a response. I won't say in 5 minutes or anything like that, but you're going to get a response, I would guess, in less than half a day.
Well, that's wonderful. Well,
so that's a good one.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for sharing that information with us. And as we close our episode for today, I want to thank my guests, Dana Sinclair from NATCO Community Empowerment Center. Thank you so much for joining me. And also to Megan Broeker and Dr. Carrie Mier from Drug-Free Wayne County Partnership. And thank you so much to all of you for joining us. Until next time, stay well.